it's not connected to the internet, so we're good.
Oh, perfect.
You hear me, Dad?
Do what?
All right.
I got
So we have the
5K in the
lovely
bank, Dad.
we get to do court like this because
Whoa.
for whatever reason I can't shout.
Oh, you got a sore throat?
Don't know why. I was told that I would get a microphone, and that never happened.
The
So,
microphone
here we
doesn't
are.
work. It's just a certain range, unfortunately. So they have to be
Well,
really
I was using
close.
before, and apparently didn't really work because people couldn't hear me. From over
Yeah,
there.
it's because they have to they have to be like really close up here. I mean,
Well,
I
that
was
kind
just
of
up
defeats
there.
the purpose, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it really does.
Really does.
Yeah. Or like a whisper phone.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Good one. All right. So this is now my desk.
It was pretty good.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. At least I'm not stuck on whisper. All right. Well, this feels very odd. I'm seeing breasts directly. Ma'am, can you please put on a shirt?
What in the fuck?
Everybody has a shirt.
I'm gonna need you to
Can we request everybody to
exit,
not show?
get
Oh.
proper courtroom attire, and come back.
Come on, man, don't slut shame.
You gotta exit the courtroom.
Yes, I'm directly relating
No, we
to the
can't be
individual.
you can't be having that out in the courtroom. You know what I mean?
Yes, she can. Free the nipple.
No, she cannot.
Blue ball,
Public
you are skating on thin
Free the
ice.
nipple.
Getting like in underpants.
Okay. All right.
I'll strip down right now,
I want to
bud.
be very clear here, ladies and gentlemen. Court is now in session, and I need to make
Hey,
one
guys,
thing
we're over here on the other side
very
of the
clear.
pews.
For one, I am now very close to you.
Where are we sitting?
If I hear any of you speaking, you will be gone. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Wild.
This is your only warning. You will be found with contempt of court. You will be charged. You will be put into jail.
Sounds like AI, bro. What the
No
fuck?
lawyer.
We're talking?
That is
Shut
how
that shit up,
works.
Dante.
Where? Is that bitch ass Donnie?
So I'm hearing people still
Eric,
speaking
bro.
right now as I am telling you to do so. So I will give you one final warning.
I will fuck a bitch up right now, boy.
Oh my god.
Who decided to speak just now?
Alrighty, looks like we're arresting people.
Stop. Just stop.
This is why we can't have nice things. It's also what I was just about
God,
to
bro.
say is unfortunately, the plaintiff has decided to advertise this like a pay-per-view fight night, in which it is being called the event of the century or what have you. I assure you all that this is not some fun little
Bro,
event
she sounds like AI.
in which you can act
Why is he
crazy.
talking?
This is no different
Don't
from any
talk.
other court that I run.
Sorry.
Regardless of the plaintiff making some sort of fancy movie poster of himself or not. Okay?
Oh.
Alright. Plaintiff, if you can go ahead and, for the record, state your name.
Okay. Let's go over, bro.
I'm going to, for the record, announce appearance as Inspector General Jose Escobar, counsel for the plaintiff. State your first and your last for the record.
My name is Philip Algood.
Okay, and you are suing who?
I'm suing Bcso.
For what?
If you could
Your-
give me 1 second.
Your Honor, is this opening statement or a direct question?
I am just getting for the record so
Got
that I know what I'm listening for.
Very good. I'd like to go ahead and take the stance. The plain. I hear talking.
Yes, I do as well. You are not immune, EMS and PD.
This is exclusively against the Blaine County Sheriff's Office. The basis of this particular complaint is on accord to human rights violations, sustained physical and psychological damage, as well as procedural neglect and non-adherence.
Okay. And you are holding the entirety of Bcso accountable for this, correct?
Whom is to be accountable is something that perhaps can be determined during examination. Nonetheless, as we stand, it is against the department.
Okay. All right. And who do I have representing the department here for the record?
How you doing, Your Honor? This is Sheriff Swebby Brown and Captain Tom Scott.
Sorry, guys, my bad.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean. All right. Well, plaintiff, you can go ahead and open your opening statement.
Certainly. Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, I'd like to stand for this.
Careful, Mr. Escobar.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I today take the stand of plaintiff for my complainant. Being that, and I want to make certain of this so that it is clearly stated for this and for any and all in audience. My name is Inspector General Escobar. I head the agency of the the Inspector General under the guidance and jurisdiction of the Department of Justice. My office pays attention to both complaints of the general population and also on accord to any government agency that requests my services. I find myself today on the bench of the plaintiff, but my particular office takes an unbiased approach to any and all its services that it renders. Moving forward, you will hear today cause and reason and rationale pertaining to a complaint that my office received by the complainant being Mr. Algood. There are several points that I will discuss in this hearing, and the first one being the key element behind all of the allegations, which is video footage evidence, both security cameras as well as law enforcement dashcam footage, which will be highlighting key procedural violations and potential systemic biases within the Department of the Blaine County Sheriff's Office. Key incidents that will be discussed today are the foot pursuit of my client, the use of lethal force.
What's good, JT?
The
Thanks for the follow,
errors of pre-identification, the
I'm a little
evidence
nervous right now.
behavior of retaliation.
Miles, what's good, Miles? Thanks for the follow, man.
As it pertains to policy violations,
Here, I got to turn off.
you will be outlined with the pursuit policies of the standard operating procedures of the department, which include failure to issue verbal warnings prior to a physical confrontation, the use of force excessively without attempts at de-escalating, medical aid insufficient provided under this claim and prejudiced comments and retaliatory actions reflecting the bias of that system. The actionable steps that will be presented today would be submitted into evidence when due time arises. You will view how my complainant is thrown into a body of water and later, immediately thereafter, electrocuted via a taser, placing his life gravely in danger, followed by continuous, numerous amounts of force employed against him, ignoring all specific policies that all officers are trained upon. This was not only done by one or by two, but by 3 or more law enforcement officials. In this case, we seek the infinite wisdom of this court to set a precedent and to pray to this court that it issues an ultimatum to law enforcement agencies imposing penalty for not following their own regulation. I will now conclude by introducing my complainant, whom I personally want, as he is the party moving this court for action, to explain and give a formal account to be included within this opening statement. Mr. Algood, would you please at this time address the court with your contribution to an opening statement?
Okay, Mr. Algood, very quickly, prior to you doing this, there's a guy with a pirate hat that is currently in cuffs being dragged around by somebody in this courtroom. What in the hell is going on in the back? Thank you. All right. Sorry about that, Mr. Algood. I just wanted to make sure that somebody was not being kidnapped in my courtroom. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
In the courtroom, I'm Phil Algood. I'm passionate about standing up for justice and fairness. My experiences have taught me how to navigate complex legal battles and shine a light on issues that need to be attentioned. In my case against Bcso, I worked hard with Inspector General Jose Escobar to uncover and organize evidence that showed clear procedural violations and biased behavior. By reviewing video footage, analyzing policies, and collaborating with experts, I aim to bring the truth to light and push for change. I believe in a justice system that is transparent, fair, and protects everyone's rights, and I'm dedicated to making that a reality. I do want to also add on, I appreciate Jose for deciding to take the defense counsel because of the numerous complaints the office has received against the department and providing an unbiased opinion.
Is that... Are you done?
Yep. And that concludes
All right, just
my
want to make
statement.
sure. I just want to make sure. Okay. All right. Thank you,
I'm so
Mr.
nervous, chat. I'm
Algood,
so fucking
for
nervous.
your contribution to the opening statement. Sure. Okay. Mr. Escobar, if you'd like to start, actually, well, officers, I'm gonna let you respond. However, I want to be clear that because this is not a traditional trial that y'all are used to, you are you do not have to respond to these claims without seeing the evidence first. I will give you the opportunity.
Mm-mm.
What in the... Okay. I'm gonna ignore that I saw that, or whatever that was. Sure, yeah, we should really get that fixed, to be honest. Do we have a fire person in here? I'm a little... Okay. Great. Okay. That was incredibly distracting. What was I saying? Oh, yes. Yeah, so I will give you a chance to respond if you would like to, Mr. Brown or Mr. Scott.
Would that be a no?
Go ahead. I got you, sir. No worries. Can you hear me, Your Honor?
Yes, I can.
How you doing today? Your
Yeah,
seat
that
looks
would
good
work,
right
but I
there,
guess not.
Your Honor. I'm gonna let you know that as well. Your Honor, members of the jury, just want to say good
That was gonna
afternoon.
be funny, you know, if I just put out the little fire over there,
Please, please.
electrical fire.
All right, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Sheriff Swebby Brown, the Bcso Department. I represent the defendant in this case, Lane County Sheriff's Department. This is a case that unfortunately involves a misunderstanding, Your Honor, of the law and the actions of a dedicated law enforcement officer, which is myself and many people that was on this case or on the scene as well, who was simply performing their duties to try to protect the community. I just wanted to start off with this 1080 led on a very, very dangerous chase, which a lot of vandalism was taking place. A lot of things were damaged, and a lot of our officers were just lives were placed in danger. We here today because of the plaintiff, Phil Algood, seeks to hold Blaine County Sheriff's Department liable for false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, malicious prosecution, and defamation. And they are asking you, Your Honor, the jury, to award a staggering $5 million in damages. $5 million in damages. Let me be clear. Let me be clear to outset. Blaine County Sheriff Department did not violate the law at all. They did not act as malicious or didn't cause any emotional distress. Did not defame anyone, and they did not wrongfully imprison or prosecute the plaintiff at all. As I was looking at the claims that he had against us, that's what he stated. In fact, Blaine County Sheriff Department acted within their lawful authority, guided by the law, the fact, and the need to ensure public safety. I just want to let you know this case is based on a series of false assumptions, miscarriage. Mr. Escobar, you good out there? You need some water? You keep clearing your throat, sir, as I'm speaking, sir. Right.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. False assumptions, misunderstandings of what actually occurred. The plaintiff is attempting to use this court as a form of revenge, Your Honor, to create a story where none exists at all. And now they're seeking to make an unfounded accusations that could tarnish the reputation of the whole department of LSPD and, or let me be specifically, Bcso, as he claimed, and unjustly demand millions of dollars in damages. That is all, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Mr. Escobar, if you'd like to begin making your case.
May I be heard?
Well, yes, I am asking to hear.
Perfect.
You. Yes.
No, I'm just verifying that my microphone here in front of me is functional. Thank you. Very good. I would like to give context and to demonstrate beyond a reasonable doubt that the evidence presented is admissible to this court and within the standards, the high standards that this court accepts. I would like to submit onto evidence the body cam footage, the law enforcement dash camera footage obtained from the cloud servers and the request for such, in order to give the context of the basis of this claim. At this time, defense submits onto the court Exhibit A, classified as such as body cam footage of the incident.
Okay, can you go ahead and put that in courtroom general?
Yes, absolutely. Just wanted to first confirm with the court before classifying the footage. And that would be, I'm sorry, which section in courtroom section? General?
Courtroom general, please. Under virtual courtroom, something that everybody can look at.
Yeah. Okay. I see it now. Virtual courtroom general. All right. I have submitted Exhibit A, and with the court's permission, if I may go ahead and display it.
Yes.
Okay. The footage is initiated by the pursuit. The white vehicle would be law enforcement. I would like to also mention that from 0.5 minutes to 0.14 seconds.
What is this guy saying?
Oh, let's first go ahead and continue playing the footage. For all those that are unable to see the footage, it is readily available at the Department of Justice emails in the courtroom general section or virtual courtroom. All evidence submitted here is subject to public information, readily accessible to anyone who wishes to see it as the court proceeds. In this footage, you will see the highlights on the violations of procedural and potential systemic biases within the department. You will also see that in the footage, an officer tackles Mr. Algood without any verbal warning, which is a violation of the pursuit policies of that department.
What timestamp would this be, Mr. Escobar?
This would be on 05 to 014.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that is the second.
one.
Yes, that's the second footage. I'm sorry. Let me resubmit. The footage is right here.
Wow.
Unable to see the. Was that moved? Oh, there it is. Virtual courtroom. Okay. Apologies for that. Now we have the right footage being shared. Here it is. It appears that I'm unable to move that footage onto the public.
What do you mean move that footage?
Because it is directly submitted in the form of an upload, which is the updated CCTV footage.
This song is dedicated to a certain kind of people,
Hey, so
Am I hearing?
which
I
just so
I
happens
just
to be
emailed you
my favorite kind of
the
people.
cloud.
Figure that one out. Figure it out.
You know, the ones
am I
that, you know, you're standing next to them and it all of a sudden it gets dark. I mean,
What's up?
you know, your best friend is,
What's
It's
up?
above.
you know what I'm
upstairs.
saying, right?
This guy, I
Yeah.
can't hear this.
Shut
Black
up, take him out.
people,
Yes,
I'ma
there's
steal
a
your
large.
shoes. You better hide your
Go,
wallet, cause
put on
I'ma
the sauce.
take that too. Black people.
Court.
Okay.
Hey.
Is this an interruption?
Yes, and there
Oh.
should be people that are dealing with this at the highest level.
KFC. Black people.
Interesting.
This is a little crazy.
People? Is that what's-
Seriously,
Wow.
like all of us are related. I ran into an old amigo named Juan Luis. The Mexican called me Apple cause we both hang from trees. Now
Whoa.
I kinda
Yeah,
took that
can
and
we
ran with it.
please?
But what he talking about?
Oh my
No,
God.
This should have been dealt with
KKK.
immediately.
Don't get
Come on.
sunburnt, just ash your knees. And we don't chew
Okay.
tobacco, but we will smoke
Okay,
weed.
Yo,
Puff
good.
Government,
past like the
hello.
train that could.
Yeah.
And we can't
Hello,
spell
government.
neighbor, so we call it the hood. And most of us would die with our fingers.
This is the
I would
first
like
thing
to
that I
call
said.
for a
Jesus.
mistrial,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yeah, that made me very.
No, stop.
Mistrial.
Stop.
I want KFC,
Stop.
bro.
Everybody shut the hell up. Next person
How
to
many
talk is getting out of
times?
here.
Do I have to say it? You are wasting your own time. Okay? Y'all complain the court takes too long and then y'all do this. Okay?
Objection, your pussy stinks!
Wow.
Great. You're going to jail.
Oh shit, my fault. Wrong.
He should have been put to jail a long time ago.
Why am I getting friggin' cuffed?
Wait,
I'm
did
sorry.
I?
I just want to point out he comes to court every time and says some shit.
And to be
Just fly him
honest,
out,
he
dude.
shouldn't even
Bruh.
be able
Bruh.
to
Thank
be
you.
put in cuffs.
Look
He
at that
should have been put into comms a long time ago. And this is what I asked from government.
Just updated,
No, it's fine.
situation,
He's already
so-
been dealt with.
Government
That
has
needs
handled
to-
him, don't worry.
Thank you.
That made me very kind of warm.
All right.
Okay.
Please,
The
everybody,
rights-
get back in your seats, please. Make sure everybody's whispering. You're not yelling across the courtroom.
The right submission has been submitted now, and that should be under courtroom general. The footage that I'm going to be pointing out is 005 seconds to 0014 seconds.
I would like to
We can hear what
just
you're
add
saying,
on
sir.
that I sent you
Your Honor, may
the
I
updated.
object?
Sent you the
I'm
updated.
sorry?
There's an
You
updated
sent-
one.
Under what grounds?
Okay.
I emailed it.
Okay.
The validity of this
Oh yes, yes. I do
body
have that.
cam.
Okay, Mr. Escobar, can you please be quiet? Thank you. What do you mean
It's-
the validity of this body cam?
Well, whatever it's claimed to be, it seems to be tampered with in some way.
Okay, and in what way is it tampered with?
Well, if you can clearly see in the beginning, there's a white background with a
Stop.
text that says "Fill Algood body cam footage," which clearly indicates that he or someone has edited this footage in some way, shape, or form.
Okay,
Oh my god.
Mr. Scott, there's a difference between editing and tampering. However, Mr. Escobar, do you have a rebuttal?
Everything that has been submitted has received the approval seal, or else it would have not been submitted.
Okay.
All in accordance with the procedures of admissibility.
Right. Okay. So, let me be clear. As I explained to you guys when you attempted to object in discovery, it is entirely in their right to show clips of different events, right? The burden of proof for them is to show me what you did. And in order to defend yourselves, if you believe that there's something that he, for example, cut out that would exonerate you, you, as police officers, have full body cam in which you are welcome to submit your own evidence. But there is no, I cannot see any sort of tampering versus editing.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
May I
All right.
proceed?
Go ahead.
I'm back.
Okay. So, again, verifying and confirming that from 005 to 0014, we have tackles. And this is Mr. Algood, the one that is being tackled multiple times without any communication whatsoever, without any warnings, followed by the use of lethal force. This would be indicated by 1 minute 10 seconds to 1 minute 12 seconds.
My bad. I didn't think that would kill you. Hey!
Followed, here you see that the first use of lethal force is initiated by Sheriff Flavy Brown, who shoots Steve Stifler without de-escalation, breaching use of force policies, followed by 1 minute and 32, the combat medic identifies Mr. Algood prematurely. The reason why this particular incident is raised to this court is for the potential rising concerns of bias.
I'm sorry, what is the timestamp for the combat medic identifying him?
That would be 1 minute 32.
It appears that Mr. Moorhead just says it's precious cargo. Am I missing something?
Let me see. 132. That is. Oh, you're looking at the previous submission.
Oh, okay. So you're on. Well, you were on the other one, so now you're okay. So now you're saying.
Correct. On the second submission, you will, or third submission. This is when you see at 1 minute 32, the combat medic identifying Mr. Algood prematurely. No one had mentioned any names prior to that. Now, if we analyze the standard operating procedures of the department, I'd like to outline the following policy violations, which is the pursuit policy. This is indicated in SOPs 1214. We have seen in the previous footage failure to issue any verbal warnings prior to the physical confrontation, followed by the use of force policy SOP 6.0, use of excessive force without attempts at de-escalating the scenario, followed by the medical aid policy SOP 9.8, insufficient medical attention provided. And the last policy violation is the bias and retaliation, prejudiced comments and retaliatory actions reflecting this claimed systemic bias. No one attempted to de-escalate any of this, especially when the complainant is not armed, is not posing anyone's life at risk. In such instance, I am completely shocked that no de-escalation, any whatsoever, was employed in order to regain control of the scenario. All force being utilized here is by law enforcement. When we review the video, which was subpoenaed, confirmed after review the policy violations and the misconduct, internal communications were reviewed, emails, logs revealing potential fabrications and collusion. I would like to move forward to the expert testimony, since as of yet, this court has, and during my presentation, the court has not received any objections.
One moment. Mr.
Certainly.
Escobar, are you you just kind of threw out of nowhere fabricating the evidence?
Illusion.
Okay, what is that?
Mr. Algood, I believe I will provide you this opportunity now to go over briefly what I have stated, and this is granted to you at the discretion of the court. In order
Well, I
for
want
him...
I want evidence for the claims that you just made.
Certain. I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Algood.
You got it. And I would also like to submit documentation in regards to the CCTV transcript that I was able to conduct with Inspector Jose Escobar at approximately 2 minutes and 38 seconds to 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Sheriff Swavey Brown verbatim states, "Mr. Anderson, what did you find in that? You find something? You know what I mean?" Simon Anderson replies, "Oh, in his car." Mr. Brown states, "Yeah." Anderson, "Oh, I thought you guys searched. Oh yeah, I will send an email in the Leo General." Brown, "So only one person, is that what they're saying?" Anderson, "Yeah, I only got it off the steering wheel." In addition...
Okay. Hold on. So now you have to tell me what any of that means. What are you alleging that any of that means?
So the internal dialogue of Mr. Anderson, what did you find in that? You find something? You know what I mean?
Your Honor, can I object to hearsay?
Well, so it's not hearsay because that is a direct transcript of what was said.
Okay.
As seen in the CCTV footage from the sales. So I'm aware that is what they said. My question to you, Mr. Algood, is what are you alleging is meant by those, and what is the criminal implications of that?
If you could just give me 1 second. I would say that the prejudice comments or assuming or trying to fabricate a false incident where I did not have anything in my vehicle would constitute.
So what did they assume from that transcript? What is your direct argument?
I thought they were
I need you to just come out with saying it.
I thought they were trying to plant something on me, find something in my vehicle. I didn't really understand why that was even stated. Made me feel like they were trying to plant something, and this has been done prior.
Okay. Did they find anything in the vehicle?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So you're saying, so you're trying to say that they colluded to possibly fabricating evidence? That's what you're saying?
That's correct. At 3:36.
But they did not fabricate evidence.
The
So-
attempt, however, was made, and the court must acknowledge
Yeah.
the
Beyond
attempt.
a preponderance of duty?
Giving us the time
No.
to go over this with you, and like you said, go ahead and reach out.
Okay,
If
hey,
anything changes, you can text
buddy.
me or call me at the number that I contacted you on.
Nobody wants to call you, sir. You're open.
Hey, no
Come
problem.
on.
Thank you. You have yourself a great day, and hey, safe
My day's not
travels
good.
as you travel
My travels are
around,
not
okay?
going to be good.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to
Yo,
add.
cops, can you get him out of here?
Yo,
Just
bro,
walk him
I
out.
know where he is.
I'm aware. It's this guy right here. Just get rid of him. Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that. Please continue.
So at
Although
three-
we're not, so although not, unless, Mr. Algood, unless you can imply directly at a later time on the footage to connect the dot directly to that thought.
Exactly. And
Do-
so,
Go ahead.
I did want to mention that at 3:36 to 4 minutes, Craven Moorhead advises to Swaby Brown. So if we are charging Phil with reckless evading, he does get interrupted with the transcript stating, "No, this is what we're going to do. We are going to look at the body cam again, right? Of course, we don't have all the time to do it now, right?" At that point, I felt like there was going to be a bunch of just charges just added for whatever reason, while I left without actually being told what I'm being charged with.
Okay, and Mr. Algood, to your knowledge, did they add any additional charges?
They did not. I don't even recall being advised what I was being charged with. I was placed on an ankle monitor and was sent on my way.
Which would lead to the next major point, which would be a federal offense, being that upon any detention, which wasn't the case, needless to say, an arrest, the arrestee or the detainee must be informed and told, this is federal statute, the reason why you are under arrest or under detention. With no charges confirmed, this is affirmatively a case of human rights violations. Being arrested, being apprehended without any confirmed charges whatsoever. More so being placed under the supervision of the state by being put on an ankle monitor for whatever period of time, without any cause, without reason, and without informing him of any of it.
Okay.
Next, we have expert testimony. If the court grants for expert testimony at this time.
You will have to tell me what the testimony is, who it's
Certainly.
being had, and
Certainly. Based upon the incident arising and the damages that arise of the direct actions of law enforcement, which would include, according to the submitted evidence, the sustained physical damage and psychological damage, pain and suffering. At this time, defense would like to call to the stand the advanced practice registered nurse, Miss Charlotte, for direct examination.
Okay. Ma'am, if you want to come up here. I don't know where you are, who you are, where. Okay, you're over there.
Let's go, Charlotte. Let's go. Dude, I'm so nervous still.
All right,
This
please
is
state the
so
name
serious.
for the record.
My name is Charlotte Walker. I'm a district nurse practitioner.
Okay. Your witness.
Thank you. How are you doing today, nurse?
I am good, Mr. Escobar.
Very good. Would you please state for the record who employs you?
I am employed by the city of Los Santos and Chief Strap.
Thank you. How long have you been employed under the facility or by the state?
Roughly 6 months.
Okay. And in your scope of practice as an advanced practice district nurse, what type of patients do you see on a daily basis?
So I see anybody and everybody. I'm a district nurse, so I can see anybody within any of the Los Santos districts. I see anybody from psychiatric patients all the way to OBGYN patients.
Thanks. Do you also, and I know you just stated you see both for physical ailments and psychiatric care. Out of the two, which type do you see the most?
I typically see general practice patients.
You examined this patient in particular by the name of Mr. Algood.
Yes,
right
I did.
Here. Very
I did examine Mr. Algood.
Okay. At this time, the defense counsel would like waiver by the court on HIPAA practices as it directly correlates treatment between care provider and patient privilege. Since this is summoned business of the court, I'd like for the HIPAA statute to be released for further questions.
So moved.
Thank you. When your evaluation, your comprehensive evaluation of this patient to my right, what type of complaint did he come to you initially making?
Mr. Algood initially came to me with a complaint of his mental status as well as some of his physical
Your Honor,
ailments.
I would like to object.
On what grounds?
Speculation.
What?
Speak on that. What do you mean by that?
Your Honor, to my knowledge, I believe you need to have some sort of certification to prove the validity and the ethics of the practice of
medical professionals?
Medical care in the city.
What?
I do have all the necessary certifications and qualifications, Judge. If the court would like to summon my certifications, Chief Strap would be able to provide those to you.
Really? Well, can I say something, Your Honor?
But the objection, she has not ruled on the objection yet. You must allow her to make a determination.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Scott, you are saying that this woman here is not qualified to give medical treatment, and therefore everything that she says is speculation. Is that your argument?
At least to my knowledge, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. What we're saying is not certifications in her field, ENT specifically, as a district nurse practitioner. Your Honor, I've been working with EMS for almost a year now, and honestly, district nurse practitioner has never been a role in EMS ever since this case was brought up. Very close with.
Hold on.
If I may
hold
speak.
On, hold on. Let him finish.
Okay.
With the district nurse practitioner, if it was, still, I don't know how I can say it, active, the certifications most definitely is inaccurate due to we do have a system with all of the chiefs, that we have a system where we see where all the certifications were with certain ranks, with certain people that are in their departments. And
So that means
I
he's just not
frankly
doing his
have
job.
not seen this district nurse practitioner on any of the recent certifications. And it's crazy that it's like these documents that she presented to the court. She said in her report that it was only first aid was given, but no extensive care for his injuries. I wanted to let you know to the court.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me
Now,
slow down.
let me stop you there.
Sorry, Your Honor.
This individual has not provided any documents to the court.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Your Honor. I'm getting.
She is providing testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you are alleging, both of you are alleging that this individual is, you're saying that because you didn't see the certification that she does not have one. Is that
No,
correct?
not me personally, Your Honor. It was closely with Chief of EMS and the EMS department. This role, all of a sudden, district nurse practitioner, given the states that sometimes EMS, hardly any of the nurses are even at the hospital. Sometimes I hardly ever hear this role, district nurse practitioner, specifically. That's all I'm saying. It's, after working after a year with EMS, never been a role or a job title like that.
What?
And if there was, Your Honor, most recently there has been for that because EMS was. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Go ahead. Basically what I'm saying is district nurse practitioner has not been active at all, and their certifications is very old and outdated. That's what I'm saying.
What?
Well, what you are alleging, Mr. Brown, is certainly a far bigger, deeper issue. You're alleging that EMS and specifically Chief Strap are not properly certifying their doctors.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, this district nurse practitioner, most recently, given the events that she's saying that these patients, alone, I have not once or have gotten the opportunity for any of our deputies or officers to see a district nurse practitioner for the events that we deal with in the city, from the killings, from the I don't know, throwing our lives out in jeopardy.
All right.
I would like to add that that would be an indoor position, not an out and about.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So EMS is completely separate from Pillbox Medical.
Okay.
I'm just employed under Chief Strap as a whole.
Okay. And that was my bad.
Now, what you might have been better to do, Mr. Brown and Mr. Scott, is to point out that Chief Strap is a criminal. And does have a charge on his record.
Yes, he does.
Objection.
I mean, you can't really object to me. I mean, it is what it is. Didn't, however, raise that, just for the future.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anyway, so, ma'am, I am going to overrule the objection. Ultimately, I am having to believe, based on your qualifications being hired, period, and you are being brought on as an expert witness. So I will allow you to continue to testify.
Thank you, Madam Judge.
Excellent. It is without a doubt. We'll be submitting that next to the court so that the court may have on file the entire interview relating to the incident. Moving forward, however, would you say how long ago did my client, for lack of better words, attended to your care?
I saw Mr. Algood almost 2 weeks after the incident. I saw him late Wednesday evening, early Thursday morning.
Excellent. And within your scope as an advanced practice nurse, what physical complaints did he arise or disclose to you that he was seeking your care for?
Mr. Algood came to me with complaints of sort of coat hanger pain, mainly reaching from his base of his neck to his left shoulder.
I included the file
And is
that I
it your
made.
professional
If you guys want to take a look at
opinion
everything that I made,
that, and your findings
I'm gonna go ahead and pin this.
of medical diagnoses,
You might have to
that
log in.
said complaints and ailments
Objection, Your Honor.
It's a medical.
Go on. You gotta spit it out, buddy.
Opinion. He's asking.
Objection. Opinion.
Yes, he's asking for the opinion.
The professional opinion.
Yes, the professional opinion. As this individual is not being brought as a witness, but rather an expert to testify, the professional opinion is incredibly necessary, as that is the art of medicine. So that is overruled.
Is it your professional opinion that the ailments he sustained would arise from physical force brought on by another human being, like a per se tackle, or excessive force being applied to the areas that you examined?
It is entirely possible, as it was a couple weeks after the incident. He did only have minimal bruising, but from what I did see, it was severely diminished at the time that I saw him.
And would you describe the lesions? I mean, as you mentioned, diminished was the word that you utilized.
Yes, sir.
My question would be then, and to not lead you on, but directly ask, there are several healing stages to a lesion?
Counsel, make sure that you're not testifying. Just ask the question, please.
What type of lesions did you examine? At what stage?
He had some hematological bruising on the dermis of his skin.
Perfect. Did he disclose onto you how said lesions?
Yes, Mr. Algood had an extensive conversation with me about what happened to cause his incident and his condition.
And would you directly tell the court
There's so many cops
what was informed
Alexa,
to
stop the
you that
music.
caused those lesions?
Mr. Algood came to me and stated that he had been in an altercation with Bcso. He said that he was at one point tackled, and that he landed on his left shoulder.
Objection, Your Honor. That's irrelevant. There was not a BCSO officer that tackled him. That was an LSPD officer.
That's true.
Okay, well,
it had nothing to do with BCSO.
she is saying what she was told.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. Please continue.
So again, I was told that a BCSO officer, or BCSO as a whole, had tackled Mr. Algood on his left side, and that's why he came to me for his neck and shoulder pain.
Thank you. And for that particular realm of medicine, which would be internal medicine, for which you provided that examination under, what was your recommended, first of all, what was your diagnosis to begin with?
For his physical diagnosis, I just diagnosed him with some physical injuries, but he also talked to me about some heart conditions that he was having from some other mental ailments as well.
And you did perform a psychiatric evaluation as well, or no?
I did.
You did.
This is gonna be good.
So, pertaining to the physical aspect, how was your treatment plan? What recommendations did you make in terms of treatment to correctively fix or aid or therapeutically service him?
As far as his physical ailments, the bruising would clear up on its own. We performed an x-ray on his shoulder and there was no deeper injuries, so there was no need for me to provide any more physical treatments at that time.
Okay. Any pharmacological treatment prescribed?
For his heart condition and his blood pressure issue, I had administered propranolol.
Thank you. And would you explain to the court what is propranolol, its mechanism of action, what
Yes, so propranolol is a heart medication. So it is designed to lower his blood pressure and his heart rate.
Thank you. Now, moving forward to the second aspect of the medical intervention would be the psychiatric aspect. You performed a psychiatric evaluation on Mr. Algood.
I did.
And what complaints did he have regarding his mental health at the time?
His main complaint was that he was not sleeping and that he was having these sort of flashback nightmares back to the situation.
Would you, out of the two examinations that you performed, which alerted you the most?
His mental well-being.
Why so?
He just seems to be a very stressed individual. He came to me and was very sort of anxious and depressed, and definitely seemed to have a recollection to PTSD.
The insomnia, which would be effectively the lack of sleep or ability to. Did you make a determination on how that may affect him? Did you determine whether that would be something on, long-term or short-term that could potentially be fixed in either short or long-term?
So you can't really say whether it would be short or long-term. It's entirely up to the person and sort of the treatment plan that you have in place. As for Mr. Algood and I, we have a bi-weekly therapy sessions. And I also prescribed to him Zoloft, which would help with his anxiety and depression.
Okay. Are there any side effects to any of these two medications?
There's plenty of side effects, but I have previously discussed that with Mr. Algood.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking about side effects, I'll disclose in the next question, which would be, has he displayed or shared, or have you witnessed or seen any potential negative side effects to any of the treatments that's been recommended?
Not since I've seen him, no. As I'm aware, he's only been on this medication for 2 days.
Okay, very well. My last question before I relinquish. You mentioned you took x-rays, you mentioned that you prescribed 2 medications, propranolol being a beta blocker, and Zoloft being a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor.
Counsel, please try not to testify. She didn't use any of those words.
Would you explain to the court the classification of propranolol and Zoloft?
So propranolol is a beta blocker, as you stated, and then Zoloft is a selective inhibitor.
Thank you.
Serotonin reuptake inhibitor. I understand, counsel. Please move it along.
Oh, Gotcha. Is it your opinion, or rather, let me rephrase, how long do you believe Mr. Algood will be tending to your care?
That entirely depends on him. So it is all in a relevance of how he thinks his care is going and whether or not he decides to continue coming to me for therapy and otherwise his general practice.
Okay. Do you have a scale of how you classify psychiatric patients?
There is a generalized anxiety form that you can fill out, as well as a depression. But me and Mr. Allgood did not fill out those papers.
We do have a report in which you prepared the account of that visit.
Yes.
Very good. At this time, defense would like to submit onto the court not only the testimony provided for admission, but also any and all medical records pertaining to this incident under Exhibit B, which I shall be providing a copy to the defendant.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
Oh shit.
There we go. Jeez Louise. There it is, okay. That would be one. There, I have 3 reports here.
Okay.
Damn it, I'm gonna have to pop.
1, 2.
Let me try and move this.
As I submit the exhibit, I have no further questions for expert witness.
Your Honor, may I have some questions?
Yes, Mr. Escobar, let's ahead a bit. We've already gone for about an hour and 15 minutes. All right. Defense, you are welcome to.
You got any questions?
It's your witness.
Captain Scott, you got any questions? Yeah. One question, Your Honor. Sorry. On this table. How you doing, Miss District Nurse Practitioner?
Chief Brown?
How long you been doing this for again?
Around 6 months. I've been employed with Los Santos.
Okay. And my one question is this. You said that Mr. Phil Algood visited you 2 weeks after the incident happened, right?
I did state that, yes.
Did you have any, I don't know, any weird feeling that he would come to you after 2 weeks after a severe injury he stated to you after his testimony after visiting you after 2 weeks?
Objection.
I cannot...
Objection.
What's your objection?
Relevancy.
I mean, I don't see why not. She said 2 weeks. She said you visited her 2 weeks.
Yeah, Counsel, you did open up the scope, or your witness did, and I
Did
think
you not?
the Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry.
Please be very careful, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Brown.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Brown, I will allow you to restate the question and provide a bit more explanation as to the relevancy of the question.
Yes, ma'am. Well, my relevancy is that after him visiting 2 weeks after the incident happened, if the, I don't know, severe injury was like he stated, after, I don't know, if after someone being hurt like that.
Objection. Objection. She, at no point in time did she utilize the word severe.
Okay. Well, with what she stated in her statement saying that he had trauma or he. You said a lot, Mr. Escobar. I'm sorry. You said a lot that she said, right? But
it doesn't matter.
All right.
I'm still objecting.
Both of you. Okay. Stop. All right. I'm going
Madam
to
Judge, I
redirect.
do have
No,
an answer.
ma'am.
Hold on,
Ma'am.
hold on.
Okay. I'm gonna need all three of you to breathe for a second. Good Lord. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Brown, that was worse than the first question. So
Okay, I'm so sorry.
I'm going to redirect the witness myself. Ma'am, is it normal for a patient to come in 2 weeks after an incident?
Typically not, no ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Brown, your witness.
Yes, ma'am. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay. Ma'am, before you go, I am very curious about this evidence that's been provided. In your testimony, you said that you took X-rays. Is this correct?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
In the testimony that you gave the court, you stated that you provided an X-ray examination. Is this correct?
I provided several examinations on Mr. Algood.
But you used the words X-ray.
Yes, we also did a CT and MRI.
And you said that the X-ray showed that the shoulder was not broken, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
In addition to my previous statement, I would like to say some people cannot help getting help. So if Mr. Algood felt that he didn't need help, but then experienced issues later on, that is a case where people would come in at a later date.
Ooh,
was he experiencing issues later on?
He was still experiencing the pain that he had. Like I stated, his neck and shoulder pain were still going on, and then he was still experiencing some head pain.
But you said it wasn't a onset after the fact.
It was onset after the incident, but then it continued on, so it was a prolonged pain.
As I'm massaging my shoulder right now in head chat.
Your Honor, may I just ask one question?
Sure, why not? Welcome to the party, Mr. Scott.
So, what was the date in which the visit took place with Mr. Algood?
As I stated, it was this Wednesday, which would...
Oh.
6 into the early morning on the 7th. I was working the night shift at that time.
Could you please state that again, ma'am?
Wednesday, Mr. Scott. Wednesday. Night
Wednesday?
shift, Wednesday. She said
Sorry,
about
Your
4
Honor.
times now.
Sorry, Your Honor. He had a little dumb stuck in his ear. I'm sorry. Take that shit out your ears.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. You are dismissed.
Thank you.
Mr. Escobar, do you have any additional
Absolutely.
evidence?
Absolutely.
I am going to ask that you pick the best ones.
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
we're getting in.
I understand. I understand. Yes, yes. Now, according to the expert testimony, which was very expertly provided and submitted to the court, I move now for presenting a pattern of misconduct, which evidence suggests as witnessed in the footage. This case is part of a broader pattern of systemic bias and excessive force within law enforcement, supported by prior incidents and external
Do these
reviews.
incidents directly relate to Mr. Algood?
Well, not particularly to him, but yes.
Then unfortunately, I cannot allow in Phil Algood v. Bcso incidents that do not relate to Phil Algood, as he is the one seeking damages.
I am now going to pass the opportunity before defense rests to Mr. Algood to address any concerns that he may have that may have not been touched upon, and I will remind Mr. Algood that the allotted time is coming to an end. Mr. Algood, with the court's permission.
Definitely. And so, thank you again, the court and your honor, for your time today. One, some of the things I'm concerned about, just dealing with this and just having a repetitive sense of bias towards myself, is how the Department of Bcso is being managed as well as overseen. This isn't the first time I've had an incident with Swavey Brown, and considering the communication that was given to me, not just in the jail cells but outside with majority of his employees and some of the EMS, it seems at this point that I will conduct that. I do not believe Sheriff Swavey Brown is capable of running the department. I asked for a review of the entire footage where it is seen that he states verbatim, well, if he's going to court, you're going to court, to one of my victims in the vehicle who was pretty much just stuck with me throughout the whole course of the time. The evidence does suggest that this isn't an isolated incident, but really part of a broader pattern of incidents and bias in execution from Bcso.
Mr. Algood, I need to clarify a few things. For one, you are saying this based on things that, quote, are in evidence from his employees and EMS. Is this correct?
Not evidence, Your Honor.
Object to that, ma'am. Your Honor.
Okay, I'm speaking, so you're not objecting to me. Okay? Thank you. All right.
So not
Please
evidence, Your
go
Honor.
ahead and, okay. You said in the evidence.
This would be speculation from direct interactions I've had with
Okay,
the city.
so we're gonna strike that down because you have not provided any evidence regarding that.
You got it.
Okay. You unfortunately, the court does not work like, well, it happened to me before. I do have to rule directly on evidence provided. And yeah, you cannot refer to that type of thing. Also, you know, it might have been a little Freudian slip. Did you say that you had a victim?
Yeah, somebody was with me. I had two people with me.
It was your victim?
I wouldn't say victim, more of like a friend who was with me. I didn't
Well, you
really...
did say victim. A couple times.
A victim of the circumstances.
Correct. Victim of the circumstance, because that was...
So not you. So not your victim.
Correct.
No.
Just a victim of the situation.
Okay.
Because the reason why I say that is due to the CCTV footage at 4 minutes and 34 seconds up until 4 minutes. I'm sorry, 4 minutes 34 seconds up until 4 minutes and 44 seconds. You can hear Officer Swavey talk to Paul Reese. So if your friend wants to go to court, you have to go to court. Paul Reese responds, so because he went to court, I have to get a monitor. Swavey to Paul Reese, y'all want to do this S word together, right?
No. It's verbatim. You can say it. Please do say it.
Y'all want to do this shit together, right?
Which brings to the conclusion that the evidence does present clear procedural deficiencies, biased conduct, and a pattern of misconduct within that department. The violations of established policies, along with recorded prejudiced behavior and retaliatory actions, support the claim. This evidence substantiates the need for legal accountability and reform in order to protect the community and the citizens alike, their rights, and ensure ethical law enforcement practices.
Okay, do you rest?
At this time, Your Honor, the only statement was that was my conclusion.
Okay.
We need reform for the citizens.
Okay. Mr. Brown, Mr. Scott, now is your time to provide any evidence that you feel is lacking or will absolve you.
Oh, I'm
Ma'am.
so nervous.
Captain Scott, you wanna go? Captain. Captain. Hello? Okay. Oh, Lordy. All right, I got the evidence that Escobar already presented, Your Honor. Is it okay we use that up there?
You can use anything that is already presented. Mr. Brown, is your captain okay?
I hope so, because right now I'm a little concerned, just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think he still got that walkie fucking talkie in his ear right now. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but he needs to take that out of his
Okay,
ear.
so
Yeah.
you are going to not address the court with any profanity for one, but for two, what do you mean by he has a walkie-talkie in his ear?
What I meant by his you see that in his right, he still has his earpiece in his ear that's connected to his radio, and I wanted to make
His
sure it was
radio is
off.
not off.
No, I believe it's off.
It's off, Your Honor.
Okay,
I
that's all.
apologize. It was my ears were having problems.
Okay, that was all, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I just see this earpiece.
Okay,
Captain,
please
I would like to go.
provide.
All right, Captain. All right, Your Honor. So I'm looking in the courtroom general. If we just scroll up to Exhibit A, that Inspector Jose Escobar already presented to us. I want to let us know that in grounds to this was a 1080, meaning a vehicle pursuit that led for about a few minutes, that endangered the lives of many civilians, that most definitely endangered the lives of my deputies and officers that was on duty as well, through numerous of unrealistic jumps and different pathways he used to escape from officers rather than complying. I just wanted to say that I've been knowing Mr. Phil Algood for a very long time. And I wanted to let the courts know that I really do appreciate Mr. Phil Algood. But I want to let the courts know that every 1011 or traffic stop conducted with Mr. Phil Algood has never been a pleasant one. He's always trying to preach our SOPs in front of us.
Objection.
Okay.
No evidence presented to this court would indicate any of it. Whether
Yes,
stops.
unfortunately, Mr. Brown, you just like how Mr. Phil Allgood attempted to say,
ma'am.
"I know Mr. Swavey Brown and he's done this."
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot do that to him.
Understood. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Well, I just would like to go on the body cam then, that was in the court room channel. If we skip to, I don't know, 3 minutes and 19 or 18 seconds. Before we tackled him, if you hear on the body cam footage, he was trying to tackle him correctly, but all of a sudden, Mr. Phil Algood, after he got out of his vehicle, he tried to flip his vehicle, meaning tried to escape again. I want to also let you guys know that Mr. Phil Algood was placed in handcuffs and was placed in the back of his vehicle. I don't know about you, Your Honor, or the court, but it was inhumanly possible for Mr. Phil Algood to jump all the way or move his body to the front seat of an PD car and begin to start it up while he's being handcuffed. I want to state the record to his allegations to what I said in the jail cell. When I meant by, do you want to keep doing this shit? Meaning, this is like I said, I'm not trying to make speculations, but before this is not the first time.
Objection.
Mr. Okay.
I believe that statement not to be accurate. Y'all want to do this shit. Those words were not the uttered words submitted as evidence today.
No, it was directly used, actually, Mr. Escobar.
Or on the video, on the footage?
By
Phil
Phil.
Algood.
He has opened up that scope. Yes.
Okay. I withdraw the objection.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Your Honor. What I meant by you wanted to hail in the victim, or he said the victim, but I guess person he did the dirty deed with, which was Paul Reese, which he's not here today, but I wanted to let you guys know that by that comment was meaning by the numerous of times we deal with, our deputies deal with, people in the city, sometimes inhumanly possible get into their front door or front.
Objection.
What's going on,
Relevancy.
True.
It is pretty directly relevant because he is explaining what he is claiming his intention was with that work, with those words.
No, I mean objection as to what he is testifying to about previous numerous incidents. There's no evidence submitted to this court about any of the recollection Suevi is making.
I understand that, Mr. Escobar, but neither is there any evidence provided that would imply that you to do this shit is any different, it means anything else.
He is testifying and
yes.
Defaming character, implying that this is a known criminal. Objection to that.
Unfortunately, Mr. Escobar, as part of any type of suit, I am personally, the court is aware that Mr. Algood is a known criminal. So yes, he has several things on his record.
And objection, he has served time and has...
I understand that he has served time, Mr. Escobar. However, in the arguments here by Mr. Algood, and therefore in defense for Mr. Swaby Brown, is that Mr. Algood identified that Mr. Brown is an issue because Mr. Algood interacts with Mr. Brown in these ways, right?
So Your Honor, so the objection I have is to, it's okay then for all actions taken on behalf of the department towards the client. Does that allow or give them a green flag to not take into account legislation and penal codes?
No, it does not, Mr. Escobar,
Okay.
nor does the court say that that is the case. You are putting words, and nor is Mr. Brown, actually. He is just explaining the meaning behind the words as your client is alleging the words mean something different. It
Very
is
well.
in his right to allege what he meant.
Understood.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that was what I was basically trying to sum up with the numerous of interactions all of our deputies sometimes deal with when people are inhumanly possible getting to the front driver's seat. But moving on, I also wanted to say in this body cam footage, I'm pretty sure everyone have seen it by now. The combat medic put Mr. Paul Algood in cuffs. Unfortunately, he was tackled. But then, after he was tackled, after this long pursuit, I want the courts to take into consideration. I understand that the body cam is about 4 minutes and 27 seconds long. But this body cam, or this scene, or this, I'm sorry, this scenario, was about 7 to 9 minutes. And I want to let the courts be known that we were trying to be very lenient for Mr. Phil Algood and
No, they weren't.
Mr. Paul Reese, due to the nature of this event was after they just robbed the bank.
We did not rob a bank.
This is what led to the 1080 proceeding.
Objection.
Okay,
Objection.
I already know why you're objecting, and I'm
Okay.
already
Okay,
going
I'm
to sustain
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me just be clear here.
We didn't rob a bank. We did not rob a
You
bank.
guys
ma'am.
didn't write a single report regarding any of this, right?
Oh yes, okay, yes, ma'am.
Nor
You're
did you
right.
bring it in.
You're right.
So,
You're right. You're right.
what you are saying in the eyes of the court is hearsay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to basically say this to sum it up. I don't want to take too much of your time, Your Honor. Mr. Phil Algood we were very lenient with him, which we let him go after all these said events. Okay. After these said events, we tried to work with Mr. Phil Algood, and we tried to comply with him, but during the time that he was in a holding cell, not in jail, in a holding cell at DPD, he just kept repeating himself, was saying, I want a lawyer, I want a lawyer, I'm taking this to court, I'm taking this to court, repeatedly. So what I meant by that, when I spoke to Mr. Paul Reese and him saying, both of you guys will go to court, because I felt that if we were laying on them and letting them go, they will come back to, I don't know, seek damages as of here we are today.
Objection. Objection. No. This objection I'm going to propose as foundation. You're speculating a time and a particular thing that has no relevancy.
Okay. I understand your point, Mr. Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
However, I am going to strike down the statement as it
Okay.
cannot be verified. That might be your view of the situation, but I cannot have the court record reflect that that was Mr. Allgood's intent.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I also wanted to let this know that, okay, I understand. Well, to sum it all up, when he met or he presented the court saying that we false imprisoned him, we caused emotional distress, malicious prosecution, defamation. I just want the courts to know that we've never publicly spoken about Mr. Phil Algood ever in a negative way on Birdie or on the social networks that we use. Never, not once. I also want the courts to understand that making these false statements against us was basically harming our reputation in a way. But to the malicious prosecution, this claim basically on the idea that the Blaine County Sheriff Office initiated or continued a criminal proceeding against the plaintiff without probable cause and with illicit and improper motive. And that's what he stated in our forum. And the facts will demonstrate that this claim is entirely without merit, if that makes sense.
Objection as to relevancy or foundation.
Mr. Brown, can you restate? Try it again. See if
Yes,
you can.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I'm sorry, Your Honor, too, as well with this. Sorry. All right. Well, presented to us, we are being sued for these 5 counts. So let me start there. False imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, malicious prosecution, defamation, and the $5 million request. I wanted to speak on the malicious prosecution. I was saying that the Blaine County Sheriff's Department had probable cause to believe that the plaintiff was involved in a criminal activity and under investigation. So when he's saying that we maliciously prosecuted him, I just didn't agree with that, Your Honor. That's basically what I was trying to say. I'm sorry to sum it all up.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Do you have anything else to bring, Mr. Brown?
Okay, I'm sorry if I'm taking less time than Mr. Escobar, but
I'm objection. That has nothing to do with what we're here today.
okay. Your Honor, I just wanted to sum it up like this. And one last thing.
Hold on. He did an objection. To be clear, Mr. Escobar, I believe what Mr. Brown is alleging is that...
No, Your Honor, he's referring to. Sorry if I'm taking less time than Mr.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a very odd statement.
Okay,
we're ignoring that.
What is this?
I don't know, Mr. Escobar, and now you're making it take longer. I acknowledge the objection. It was not relevant. Please continue, Mr. Brown.
Yes, ma'am. In conclusion, members of this jury, just wanted to let you guys know this
There's
case.
no jury, Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Your chat GPT is losing it.
I'm sorry.
No jury. It'll be okay.
All right. Basically, I want to say to the district nurse practitioner on one of the reports, Your Honor, and if this is okay.
Objection.
Oh my God, I can't go. Yes, Mr. Escobar, what's going on?
I am not talking to you. I'm speaking to the judiciary with my objection. The expert witness has been released by the defendant in this case. Why are we still mentioning her?
Why are you? What are you trying to speak on, Mr.
Because
Brown,
when I tried to speak on the reports earlier, I wasn't able because the reports.
Ah, see. Okay. Yes, you can speak on the reports specifically. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to point out that the report said that he wasn't given first aid. I'm sorry, he was given first aid, but wasn't given an extensive care for his injuries. Just wanted to let you know to the courts that we do have EMS and we do have combat medics who are highly trained to be with us while out on duty. Combat medics has the authority to save our lives in the middle of a scenario or a situation that we may be injured in. I wanted to let the courts know that combat medics in our eyes are seen as someone who most definitely is, how can I say this, not over EMS, but like I said, at the end of the day, highly very well skilled. So when I saw that in the report, he was given first aid, but wasn't given any extensive care for his injury. Combat medics are very highly, that's all I want to say, basically. But that concludes what I want to say, Your Honor. I'm sorry for taking on your time. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brown. All right. I am going to, in the benefit of time, I'm just going to talk through what we've heard today and ultimately what I view as just and fair. There are a lot of allegations here by Mr. Algood, and ultimately what I see is the choice to only go after Bcso, yet bring up tackling, which did not happen by Bcso. It happened by LSPD. That is an odd choice in the court's view. At the end of the day, I must rule on whether Bcso caused the things that Mr. Algood alleges. And as seen in the medical report, in which the patient claimed that he was involved in an incident with Bcso where he was tackled to the floor, it does seem that there was a bit of a target. The court does acknowledge that Bcso did unlawfully put an ankle monitor onto Mr. Algood. The charge that Bcso put onto Mr. Algood was already vacated by the court, in which they alleged that the defendant, Mr. Algood, was reckless evading. But yet, when asked, the parole officer and the arresting officer did not provide any report or evidence when asked by the court.
I'm
and
sorry, Your
ultimately,
Honor. Who did not provide? Sorry.
the police.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, when asked by the court, the probation officer and arresting officer from Bcso did not provide the court with any evidence that Mr. Algood was in fact beyond a reasonable doubt the driver of the vehicle that could be reckless evading. Therefore, his charge was already vacated. The court already ruled that the ankle monitor and the charge was not beyond a reasonable doubt, and the burden of proof was not reached by the police. Therefore, ultimately, the situation in it of itself is clear and was already decided by the court to be a serious violation from Bcso regarding follow-up and proper procedure due to the arrest itself. However, the claims of mental distress, anguish, I do not find that the incident, which continues to be brought up as the tackling, as the reason in which recounting the tackling is what made the patient experience psychological distress, that was not Bcso. That was Simon Anderson of LSPD. However, Simon Anderson of LSPD is not the one called before me. So ultimately, two things can be true. Bcso cannot be found liable criminally for Mr. Algood's mental distress, just as much as Bcso can be found negligent in their reporting, in their follow-up, and their lack of documentation regarding ankle monitors. However, that is not what we are discussing here today, because the court already vacated that charge. Ultimately, it is on the plaintiff to show the court that being on that ankle monitor was what caused that distress. That being held was what caused the distress. And ultimately, what the court saw was repeated bringing up of how he was put in handcuffs to begin with. It was the combat medic who Mr. Algood alleged knew who he was before he was fingerprinted. Combat medics are not Bcso. They are EMS. It was LSPD who unlawfully tackled without properly providing any sort of warning and to tackle into a immovable object, such as a metal car, was incredibly reckless. Yet this was not Bcso. What was provided was Craven Moorhead and a combat medic going on a buddy road trip in which they didn't have gas, had to stop, put some jerry can in, show up, and Mr. Algood was placed in the vehicle. That being said, on malicious prosecution, I do see that Bcso did use court, and this court, as a punishment. Court is a right. It is the right of every individual, every citizen, to come before this court for justice. Court is not to be used by police as a leverage or a bargaining tactic in order to impress your force onto an individual. Doesn't matter how annoying they are. The argument was that Mr. Algood was repeatedly saying, lawyer, 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 I'm going to court. The court acknowledges that it could be annoying, but ultimately that is entirely his right. And therefore, to be retaliated against and lump another individual into it, the court does see that as being used as leverage rather than justice.
Oh, shit.
However, luckily for Phil Algood, Bcso is largely incompetent and did not go through the body cam as they said they would, did not find more charges as they said they would, and in fact did not follow up at all. Therefore, there was no prosecution that could have been malicious. In fact, Mr. Algood, you benefited directly from Bcso's lack of proper documentation and follow-up.
Yes.
Mr. Algood, you directly benefited by Bcso being all bark and no bite. But I assure you that this court is both bark and bite. And while I cannot, in good conscience, rule that this is a direct cause of some sort of damage that would require you to get $5 million from not just Bcso, but LSPD as well, as they have the same bank account, I cannot in good conscience do that, sir. You have not provided enough evidence that shows that you need money to help you for your damages. But Bcso,
Damn, that nigga not get no bread.
you have constantly
Here we go.
shown the court that your current state is unacceptable.
Damn.
Oh my gosh, she might fire him.
The use of putting an individual on an ankle monitor. Mr. Scott, you were appointed by the court to help with the bail procedure in order to make ankle monitors an effective tool, not for the police, but in fact for DOJ. And Mr. Algood slipped through the cracks. This is unacceptable. The court already ruled that this was unacceptable. So, in sentencing, there will be no criminal charges here. However, Bcso is now being officially indicted by the Department of Justice and must give great and complete overhaul in how ankle monitors and this process works. Mr. Brown, you cannot just put an ankle monitor on somebody and completely forget about him.
Oh, shit.
Unacceptable. And a direct violation of his rights.
Oh shit.
So, Mr. Allgood, you will not be getting $5 million from me, nor from them.
1 second.
An incredible number that you did not even come close to justify.
Right.
Additionally, you have not directly shown any evidence that, other than their unprofessionalism and using the court as an unlawful bargaining tool, which will be dealt with in a different way by the court. But for our purposes today, while Mr. Brown might have been saying, well, did you get it? Oh, well, he's got to have something, blah, 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 with Mr. Anderson. I cannot, in good conscience, lead that to be, as you said, collusion or an attempt to plant evidence. There is not enough evidence for that, Mr. Allgood. So unfortunately, in this case, Mr. Allgood, you likely will not be happy with me. But not enough evidence has been shown that Bcso directly, other than what I have already said and already indicted on the lack of departmental awareness and the idea that you could even put somebody on an ankle monitor and say, we'll find out what to charge them with later, is a gross, absolute, I have no words.
Negligence.
That is not how the justice system works. But y'all have already been told this. And thus, the Department of Justice is announcing to everyone in this court that the Blaine County Sheriff's Office is under investigation by the State Bureau of Investigations on gross negligence in their policing. However, for you, Mr. Allgood, the most I can offer you is $50,000 for the medical treatment and to help you with that antidepressant. Zoloft's pretty cheap. You'll be okay. To Blaine County, you are on warning. Everything and anything that you do is under direct surveillance by the state.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a public warning, and to anybody in the public, if there is any
we got.
type of negligence
He's under investigation.
done by this department, you are to come directly to me. They are on warning. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Damn, nigga ain't get no fucking money. I'm pissed.
Come here, Sheriff. Come here right now.
I'm pissed. I thought that nigga was gonna win his case. He didn't even fucking win. Fuck. Damn, that
Typical Escobar, always overshooting.
You ready for this? You ready to go talk about it?
Good.
Shut the fuck up,
Hey,
bro.
guys.
You want no money.
Wait, come here.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, she did Loki cook us, but hey, the PD balance was in touch.
I want you to exit through the safe route.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'll always defend you, Sheriff. You know that.
Would you like me to let you out, sir?
Hey,